Kikai no Naka no Akuma here. Good afternoon. It's Friday, June 26th. I wanted to recap last night's game, the 3,500 point Starship Troopers, feedback, things that could have gone differently, stuff that might help out the newer players that I run with. So really quickly, first and foremost, Frank is a newer player who plays bugs at tabletop in San Antonio. I painted his army. So in the video, you can see the different paint schemes. I did the darker looking bugs that were in his lines. He was really unconfident, but now he's becoming more sure of himself, so I'm proud of him for that. My 3 flags that I want to throw about how the game was played last night was 1, deployment. Veteran players can tell you that more than half the games they play are won in deployment. Bugs being a fast army and being able to run and re-roll with fleet, he should have put all of his forces on the front lines while hiding his synapse creatures from line of sight. That's my flag number 1. Flag number 1 part B is that him and his teammate should have placed the objectives closer to them. We were playing on a 8 by 12 board. No, I'm sorry. Everyone had 2 feet. It was an 8 by 6 table, but we were playing the long way 6 feet with 3 objectives in each deployment zone. He should have put his closer to the edges of where he could assimilate. I'll have to do a diagram video later on, or I'll just go back and cut out the audio and put markers in the videos. With that being said, my objectives were placed away from his lines on purpose so I had a chance to divide his forces and land where I wanted and control the table. So with that understanding, yeah, I put my stuff further away from where I knew he was going to drive his forces through and give myself some deployment some saving time from the Baneblade. Now, question that came up, why did I deploy 15 Void Shield generators? Well, 15 total Void Shields. Because I wanted to make it challenging. I wanted them to think about how do you get through this problem and still hit the tile hard. Last night's deployment of my forces, I had 2 Sky Rays and a Devilfish in the Sky Sweep missile formation. I had a Riptide Wing, I had a Firebase support cadre, and that was pretty much it, minus the Rapid Insertion Force and about 6 squads of Pathfinders and 6 squads of Fire Warriors on foot. Go figure. They overcame the issues pretty well. Flag number 2 was having a negative Nancy. When you play the Apocalypse, it's not a friendly, fun game of 40k. It is a grudge match, in your face, no holds barred, I'm kicking your teeth in game of 40k. And with that, you have to think outside the box. Flag 2 part B is having access to the books. Granted, 40k is an expensive hobby, but that's why a lot of stores have a store copy of the books that are going to be used for what's playing it in the store. Taking a few minutes to sit down with the book and look over assets, make questions, ask notes, make notes, ask questions, can really help out, especially with your veteran players in the store. Frank has been doing this. His partner is a newer player. I'm going to have to sit down and work with him. With that, the one formation that Frank is able to roll is called Endless Swarm. He has a Terrario site, the Drop Pod Tyrannid bug, and my recommendation to him is to later on in the future, pick up more warriors, pick up more zoanthropes, pick up more synapse creatures. excuse me, and pick up another Tyrosite drop pod. Why? The golden answer to Frank winning Apocalypse games for objectives. Those objective missions to where you have to capture certain points on a board, hold them down, and count points with troops secured. Troops are objective secured. That rule still applies in Apocalypse. My advantage from last night's game is that all of my troops were sitting up in the walkways and pathways of the base complex and couldn't really get to all the objectives. So the most I would have been able to hold was 2 total objectives for the entire game. Frank, on the other hand, could have swarmed me hypothetically, and I call it a hypothetical game because there's no way that was going to get done within the hours of the store closings, especially starting at 5 o'clock. The short point is that Endless Swarm, outflank, you need Endless Swarm to formation, you need outflank, and then you need at least 2 to 3 drop pods filled with synapse creatures or creatures that can demonstrate synapse. If you have any gene stealers that can give synapse to help out with controlling the smaller bugs, even better. That's a 5-point win advantage. Here's how Endless Swarm works. Turn 1, the enemy forces shooting have to roll a D3 and they have to roll at least a 2 to be able to shoot the small bugs. Turn 2, they have to roll a 3 or a 4 to be able to shoot the bugs. Turn 3, it has to be a 5 or a 6 to shoot the bugs. At turn 4, it's game over. Here's how that works. Endless Swarm has the special rule Bodies Over Bullets. Bodies Over Bullets states that after turn 4, you have to roll a D3 equal or lower than the turn number to continue shooting normally at the broods. You can't. It's over with. Now, what does that mean? All enemy shots versus those bugs are snapfire. Sucks to be anyone else. Now, combining that with the drop pod assault, turn 1, they can be in your backyard. Outflank in the swarm. Frank has roughly, I want to say 6 broods. He can get up to 100 and something bugs. Yeah, that coming outflank into your rear, especially if you're playing a non-intercept army, hurts. It will hurt. Why? He's in your face. It's Starship Troopers. Game's over. Right then and there. Not to mention the pods dropping in and firing off all of their shots. I don't care if it splits a skill 2. When you're putting out 15 shots and 5 templates, you're going to hit and hurt something. It may not kill, it may wound. And that sometimes it's all you need to turn the tide. Had that happened last night, I would have called game at turn 3. It was just nothing I could really do. My force plan was to send the Tetras, as you look in the other videos, all the way out to the other side, anticipating the outflank. Flag 3. My pet peeve flag is when people hang back. What I was expecting last night after talking to Frank and playing games with him and his partner Gabe was Gabriel was going to take the punishment turn 1. The first asset was going to be Blind Barrage or Shield Generator. Shield Generator would have worked a lot better. Blind Barrage would have protected him either way. Those 2 assets in the beginning of the game, when I got to shoot for my turn 1, would have protected his Baneblade and his commander and his forces. Excuse me. But as you look through the videos, remember that they deployed all the way from the back to the front of their deployment zone, crisscrossing in between each other and tying each other up for deployment, speed, and movement. Leman Russes and Baneblades are some of the slowest tanks in the game. You can leave them behind. They're not capturing objectives. They're designed to sit back and hold what they can. With that said, parking a Baneblade behind a terrain piece and giving it a cover save, forcing me to burn marker lights, would have been a better option. However, it was a hypothetical teaching game. And as the store closed, I walked them through how they're going to win based on what they did turn 4, 5, and 6. And it was going to literally be a battle of attrition. My crisis suits, yes, they landed in front of his warriors in his backyard, wiped out the small brood of Hormigons that was left there. 2 points. We were looking at a Zaku 109 destroying the Baneblade. 2 points. What they ended up doing was their turn 4, they would have replaced the Baneblade, used the mission deployment zones, walk it into my backyard inside the Void Shield generator, and wiped out one of my Warlords and the Broadside Squad. Strength 9 AP2, Big Cannon, and then Strength 10 AP2 Demolisher round, no cover. That pretty much sealed the fate of that side of the table. On the far side with the Green Commander and the other Broadsides and the Riptide, it was going to be Hormigons walking off the table, running up, charging, eating the HQ and the Broadsides in close combat, and securing that objective as another brood shot the Fire Warriors next to my HQ to death. On the far side of the table, the Riptides that had deployed in front of the Baneblade and blew it up, well, they didn't blow it up, the Zaku did, would have been swarmed in Gaunts. Riptides have 3 attacks base, 4 in a charge. Each shielded missile drone has 1 attack. 30 Gaunts charging in statistically will overwhelm them, but because of Synapse, they're always fearless. They'll never break from combat, no matter how many I get lucky and try to kill. So I would have been locked down, locked in place, and game would have been called, because by turn 5, they would have had 5 objectives on the table, and they would have had almost 15 points. So those are the 3 flags that I wanted to discuss from the hypothetical. Points to improve on: people need to paint their armies. I'm willing to help out. I respect that from someone else who said it about a year ago now on Facebook. But overall, I had a lot of fun. It was a great teaching game. And I did not abuse them with the normal Riptide strategy that I run. My Riptide strategy was, I'm going to scare you with the possibility of it hitting the table, but I'm not going to do it to you yet. And when I did it, it was the most ineffective drop ever. It was in the middle of the front yard. Yes, there was a clearing landing space in the backyard, but being in the middle of an enemy deployment zone, and he can deploy anywhere in his deployment zone from Endless Swarm for reserves, I was going to get charged. And it just wasn't going to end the way I wanted. So that's why I did what I did. So, any other tactical analysis? Dice rolls could have been better for him. I could have did better on some of my dice rolling. But that's the nature of the game. So, this is the hypothetical tactical analysis wrap-up. Thank you for watching and putting up with me. I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend, and I hope to talk to some more of you soon.